The strangers from the internet are standing outside. The strangers from the internet have come from far and wide. But I cannot receive them. I hardly believe in them.
Hello, and welcome back to Shadow Yaddo. I'm Elena Richardson. One of my favorite things about Yaddo is the community formed at dinner time, the only meal of the day when all of the artists and residents get together around a huge table. Whether it's been an astonishingly good work day or one filled with roadblocks, it's likely you'll have a soulmate who gets it, whatever it is for you that day. Emerging artists hang out with well-established artists. You might even meet one of your heroes. We see those serendipitous circles at play out in the world too. Yaddo connections run far and wide, and it's a joy to see old friends bring new pals into our fold. One of these circles is having a red-hot streak in the East Village scene in New York City, where a group of performers with talent to burn, many of them Yaddo artists, have found each other and are creating new, exciting work. Through this pandemic, I've especially missed Sunday nights at Pangea on the Lower East Side, where you can finish the weekend recharged, have a glass of wine, a bite to eat, and catch many of these mega talents live. So, we've put together a special episode for all of us, with two phenomenal artists and some spectacular music. David Cale is a monologuist, playwright, songwriter, and actor. He's the writer of the play Harry Clarke, starring Billy Crudup, which had an extended run off-Broadway and is now available as an Audible original. If you didn't see it on stage, do check it out now. It defines bravura. And Cale's solo musical memoir, We're Only Alive for a Short Amount of Time, richly deserved the Obie Award it received. Here, David speaks with his friend and sometime collaborator, Sylver Wallace, an astonishing vocalist and sound studies scholar whom I first heard perform, surprise, surprise, one Sunday evening at Pangea. She really is spellbinding. Here's David and Sylver.
So, hi, Sylver.
Hi, David.
You're such a spellbinding singer and performer, and I just love performing on stage with you, and it's just so exciting to hear you sing.
Thank you, David. That means the world to me, coming from you.
Were you always interested in singing?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up singing in a Baptist church in my community. I am no longer singing in a Baptist church. Thank the Lord. Truly. But that is how I came to music, through that. And then when I was about 8 years old, my mom was like, hey, what if we put you in like a community theater program? And I said, sure, why not? And the first musical I did was The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow. And this is all in the Bay Area, is it?
Yeah, all in the Bay Area.
And so then you came to New York to go to NYU to the Experimental Theater Wing.
Yes, that's right.
And then how did Emergence Collective, the group that you also sing with and collaborate with, how did that come about?
Yeah. So Emergence Collective is made up of myself, Matthew Dean Marsh, Kate Douglas, and Reina Sokolov-Gonzalez. And we started in 2016, I want to say. That's when we first started really writing and composing music together, and honestly, just realizing that singing together was so much fun and that we enjoyed it, and it was something that felt really special to us. And we started thinking about what it would be like to write music together and then bring that to small stages and perform it in sort of our local communities and share it with our friends, because it was really a passion project of sorts.
Yeah.
And as we continued on, the ideas around language and what the word emergence means, and our interest in ecology and like the natural world, and us as natural beings being a part of this world and being in harmony with the natural world. How has all of this affected the types of music that we wanted to write about and the things that we wanted to compose?
Yeah. And the sound is really exquisite of your voices together. It's really magical. So do you write a lot?
I went to NYU all head, I mean, in my body, yes, somewhat, but I was all brain. I just I loved theater and I loved performing, but more than performing, I actually loved the critical theory behind performance. And so I was at experimental theater wing all 4 years, but I also double minored in performance studies and religious studies. So I was just walking around full of things in my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that has continued on. So I do love to write. I love to read. I'm always reading. And so I really do enjoy the critical theory, academic side of performance and performance studies and vocal studies. And so I do write music also from this interest of performance studies and what it means to be a performative being.
Matthew, Dean Marsh, and myself have been doing these monthly residencies at this little club in East Village in New York City called Pangea. And I mean, every time we want to invite Sylver, your level of ease is always astonishing to me and kind of inspiring as a neurotic person. I'm talking about myself now. You seem so calm and easy about it, and it seems so effortless to you.
That is a compliment that I was not prepared for.
Well, it's true. I'm like, oh my God, how does Sylver just walk in and then the room is just electrified? It's such a joy to be on stage with you. And it's also fun.
So fun.
And I know as part of this podcast, we're going to play a couple of recordings. One of them is a cover of TLC's Something Wicked This Way Comes that you perform with the Warp Trio. So I think we're going to play that.
Take a good look in the mirror and tell me, do you like what you see? Masters of deception, corruption, and evil, but you're always quick to point the finger at me. Oh, somebody tell me, I just don't understand the ways of the world today. Sometimes I feel like there's nothing to live for, so I'm longing for the days of yesterday. What gave you the right to misjudge me and write me on the wall, acting as if you understand me? Just don't know me at all. Sometimes I can't help but wonder if this was how it's meant to be. But if you search deep enough in your soul, you'll always find a slight reminder of me. Won't somebody tell me? There's nothing to live for, so I'm longing for the days of yesterday. just don't understand the ways of the world today. Sometimes I feel like there's nothing to live for, so I'm longing for the days of yesterday.
That's really extraordinary. I mean, and also, I mean, that song. But to hear you sing, what are you working with, Kate Douglas? You're up to something with Kate Douglas too.
I am. Oh my gosh, David, I'm up to. Honestly, I mean, as much shit as 2020 was, I've been so grateful. So I have so much gratitude for the time that it opened up for me to take the time to actually sit with myself and with my friends and talk about how we wanted to remain active during this time and continuing to create and stimulate one another and do things for each other and with each other, because this is our lifeblood, you know. And as for you, you know, I feel that every time I step on a stage with you is like, this is just what we do, and that is so special to commune with one another. And so Kate Douglas and I are longtime friends. And this year, we decided to tip our hats to the podcast world, a very foreign world to me. We had come up with this idea to talk to other people that we may consider like masters of their trade, whatever it is that they may do, and to speak with them about how they communicate inside of their job, but also how they communicate in their day-to-day lives with their partners, with their friends, with the world. How do we communicate with one another? And we realized that we were so interested in this, especially as you start to cross-pollinate fields. So how does a scientist talk to an actor? How does a, singer or musician speak to someone in the medical field or a doctor? How do we successfully and effectively communicate across so many differences in our backgrounds and in our jobs? And how do we start to bridge that communication between these very different people and do it in a way that feels really accessible and exciting? And so we started this first season. It is called Form Podcast, and we are on all streaming platforms as of right now, including Apple and Spotify. Our trailer is officially out, and our first episode is coming April 1st. Yeah, super exciting. I know that Kate has also talked to you.
We've talked to me about squirrels. Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I can't
my relationship
wait to listen.
The squirrels of Tompkins Square Park.
It's deep.
Oh, my whole
it's
thing.
It's deep and real.
Well, that's a completely coronavirus-related thing, that I started going to the park just to get out of the house. Tompkins Square Park, which is just a couple of blocks from my apartment. And then I started feeding the squirrels and becoming very friendly with the squirrels and whipping up scenarios to post on social media about these squirrels that I started naming. And like close friends of mine are like, please stop it with the squirrels. It's dividing
I love this
people.
So much.
There's some people are like, it's really sweet and charming, and other people are like, please stop. Going from squirrels to Sade, which is a natural segue, I came to see you do an evening of lesser known Sade songs at Pangea.
Yes.
Is that something you're going to continue exploring?
Well, it was a very special event. Indeed. I have not since done it again, but I would love to if invited somewhere to do it. I would also love to do it for the Queen Sade herself someday. I mean, but we have talked about continuing on with this idea of other mini concert series of like B-sides. I don't know who's next.
That's a very interesting idea. Well, I certainly hope you do more as somebody with a very dear relationship to Sade. Sade's music. I've never met Sade. And one of my recent shows was this solo play called Harry Clarke. And Harry Clarke was somebody from the Midwest who could do a very good British accent, who came to New York and posed in New York as Sade's former tour manager. The original ending of Harry Clarke was that that Harry would go into a karaoke bar and sing Soldier of Love, and that would be the end of the show. So all to say that Sade is in our orbit.
Oh my God. I mean, the amount of times I've stood in my mirror with a hairbrush singing Soldier of Love, can I tell you?
And
my God.
there's another song that I wrote with Matthew Dean Marsh, specifically for you, that we then performed at Joe's Pub. I guess it was...
Maybe 3 years
Was it that
ago?
long ago? Let's say it's 2.
I mean, we lost.
It was like
last
November,
year, just, you
but we
know.
have the recording.
That's all we have.
So I think we're going to play that. Yeah, well, that's all we have. We have I have no memory of the date, but it's a song called "I Know What Will Happen."
If you call after dark, I know what will happen. If we go to a bar, I know what will happen. If we linger too long at the exit, we know what I'll do. If the stars are aligned while your hand touches mine, I could blame it on you. When I'm with you after midnight, it's always the same. If we go to your room, I know what will happen. If I try to leave you, I know what will happen. Like a rose bush, I prune all these feelings, but they just keep growing. I can lecture myself all I want, but they just keep on going towards you. When I'm with you after midnight, it's always the same. I look into your eyes and my world all falls
You don't have any live things planned, do you, at this moment, where it's still everything's so up in the
Well,
air? Or do you?
funny you mention.
You
It will
do?
not be my own solo performance. However, Reina Sokolov Gonzalez, a very, very dear friend and collaborator that is also a part of Emergence Collective, and she is getting ready to release her first big album, and it comes out this summer. And her first music video from the album drops tomorrow. It's called Better For You. And I worked on that.
That's what I thought. And don't you also style,
Yes.
working as a stylist for her?
Yeah,
I mean, you have such a
so-
great visual eye.
Oh, I thank you. I am the official creative director. It's
Oh,
been
that's
really
great.
fun. And yes, I've been styling her. Yeah, so we hopefully will do some kind of live recording, streaming situation in May
Oh,
is the
good.
plan. And I'll be singing backup for that. And then I also will be singing for a similar live recording for Shayna Taub.
Oh, fabulous. Is that the suffragette?
It is actually unrelated. Shayna also has an album coming out as well this summer, and she is also doing a similar live recording actually in conjunction with Joe's Pub and Greenwich House. They'll record it, and then that'll come out at some point.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. You're working with Shayna Taub.
Come fall of this year, I will be away for a little while. I will not be here. I was accepted to a master's program at Northwestern in Chicago.
Oh, fabulous.
So I will be
Oh,
away
that's
for a year.
fabulous. I didn't know
Yeah,
this.
this is new. I mean,
A year?
I just found a year. You sound upset,
A
David.
year? No. I'm suppressing the devastation. Well, we're gonna have to do our shows in Chicago.
You introduced me to Chicago as is, so I feel I am in great debt to David Cale. Anything that has to do with Chicago.
Oh my gosh. When does that start?
Classes begin in September, so I will be leaving New York probably early September to
Wow.
begin this new
Very
journey.
exciting. Well, I cannot wait to get back for us to do things together. And I'll wait a year till you come back.
Oh, David.
Oh, Sylver.
I miss you.
I know, I miss you too. I love that we're doing this. It's like so
You're a cool
sweet.
kid. Keep
It's
talking
like,
to those squirrels. I don't care what your friends say.
Oh, you're a cool kid too.
I'll tell you forward, there's no map to show me. I need a clear mind and eyes that see. My fists to fight, my lungs to breathe. I know how to get it. There's just one thing I can't find. How do I ask you? This woman needs, this woman needs, this woman.
Thanks for tuning in. Enormous thanks to our producer and resident Wonder Woman, Christy Albano. And big thanks, as ever, to our sound engineer, CJ DeGenero, and to the artists who contributed music. In order of appearance, they are Joseph Keckler for the adaptation of our theme music, Strangers from the Internet. The song This Woman, featuring Sylver Wallace, is by Plastic Angel of the Month. You can hear more of their music on Bandcamp. The rendition of Something Wicked This Way Comes by Warp Trio is a cover of TLC's original song. The track I Know What Will Happen was recorded live. The song was written by David Cale and Matthew Dean Marsh. To learn more about Sylver Wallace, visit sylverwallace.net. We'll see you for more Shadow Yaddo in a couple of weeks. And maybe some Sunday in the not-too-distant future, we'll find ourselves squeezed in near each other on a bankhead at Pangea. I'll keep my fingers crossed for that.